Think about this. You worked for years, and the raise you had been waiting for finally arrived. You upgraded your car, moved into a nicer home, added a few new subscriptions, and felt as though your life had moved up to the next level. 6 months later, you are earning more money, but you feel less confident about leaving your job than you did before. That is because as your income grew, your expenses became tied to that higher income. This is the trap most people fail to notice. A higher salary does not always make you more free. Sometimes it simply locks you into a more expensive life. In this video, I will show you how the desire to look wealthy can delay real wealth, how high fixed expenses can limit your choices, and how simple financial decisions can grow into a major advantage over time. But first, ask yourself one question. If your paycheck stopped tomorrow, how many months could you continue living the way you do today? Because financial strength is not measured only by how much you earn. It is also measured by how long you can survive without a paycheck. I'm Tommy. Let's look at the difference between the appearance of wealth and real financial freedom. Most people see work as a simple exchange. You give your time, and in return, you receive a paycheck. But as your monthly expenses rise, the balance of that exchange begins to change. If you have a $950 monthly car payment, high housing costs, and a credit card balance that keeps rolling over from one month to the next, you may technically be able to leave your job. In reality, doing so becomes extremely difficult. Saying no to an unnecessary meeting, asking for better working conditions, or leaving a job that is draining you suddenly feels much riskier. Your employer does not need a secret plan to keep you in debt. High fixed expenses do the job automatically. The less time you can survive without your salary, the harder it becomes to defend your own interests at work. That is why you should never confuse a high income with real wealth. Someone who earns $150,000 a year but spends $148,000 may look successful from the outside. But if only $2,000 remain at the end of the year, that person is not free. They may have a high income, but they are still financially fragile. They are still dependent on the next paycheck. Income tells you how much money passes through your life. Wealth tells you how much of that money stays with you, grows, and eventually gives you the power to make your own choices. Now think about Brandon and Ryan. They are both 30 years old, work for the same company, and earn $100,000 a year. After receiving a promotion, Brandon buys a large vehicle that costs $65,000. Between the payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and registration, he spends around $1,200 a month on transportation. Ryan continues driving a reliable sedan that is already paid off. He spends around $400 a month on the same basic costs. The difference between them is $800 every month. Brandon spends his money on comfort today and on how he appears to other people. There is nothing automatically wrong with that. Ryan, however, invests in something no one can see from the outside: the ability to say no in the future. If Ryan invests that $800 every month in a diversified, low-cost investment portfolio, the difference could become significant over 30 years. At an average annual return of 7%, it could grow to roughly $976,000. At 8%, it could grow to around $1.19 million. At 10%, it could exceed $1.8 million. These are not guaranteed returns. Taxes, fees, and market conditions can all affect the final result. But the basic truth does not change. Every major expense has two costs. The first is the money you pay today. The second is what that money could have become in the future. That is opportunity cost. Brandon did not only pay the price of the vehicle, he also gave up the investment growth that money could have produced over time. That is the hidden cost of a major purchase. So asking, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" is not enough. The more important question is, what future choices will this payment take away from me? Will it delay your emergency fund or your investments? Will it make changing jobs more difficult? Will an unexpected expense push you back into debt? Being able to afford something does not simply mean being able to make the payment. You should also be able to buy it without weakening the rest of your financial life. But there is another problem. People do not make every purchasing decision based purely on logic. So why do we continue choosing the option that looks more impressive from the outside, even when we understand the financial cost? Because the social reward arrives immediately. Compound growth works quietly. When your emergency fund reaches 6 months of expenses, no one applauds. When you put a little more money into your retirement account each month, most people never notice. But when you arrive at work in a new car, everyone looks. The attention may last a few seconds. The payments may continue for years. I call this the lifestyle lock. It is a cycle in which earning more money can slowly leave you with less freedom. When you build a more expensive life, you need a higher income to maintain it. As your income rises, new expenses begin to appear. Eventually, you become dependent on an even larger paycheck just to preserve the lifestyle you have created. Instead of becoming more free as you earn more, you become an employee of your own expensive lifestyle. Luxury is not the problem. The problem begins when luxury starts controlling you. There is nothing wrong with buying a safe, high-quality car you genuinely enjoy, or living in a nicer home. But if most of the price is paying for a logo, social status, or the attention of other people, the purchase may not improve your life as much as you expect. Wealth is usually built quietly, and people who build wealth quietly create a very different kind of life. They carry less debt, keep more cash available, and do not make every decision based on the assumption that the next paycheck will arrive on time. If they lose their job, their entire financial life does not collapse overnight. When an unexpected expense appears, they do not immediately have to put it on a credit card, and they know they do not have to remain trapped in a job they hate. The goal is not to look poor. The goal is to stop needing expensive symbols to prove that you are doing well. So how do you escape the lifestyle lock? Step 1. Calculate your freedom runway. Add up your essential monthly expenses. Then calculate how many months you could support yourself using your current savings if your paycheck stopped. That number is a more honest measure of financial strength than your salary. Step 2. Review your 3 largest fixed expenses. Do not cancel a $5 app while ignoring a $1,000 monthly vehicle expense. Small savings can help, but your largest fixed expenses usually determine the direction of your financial life. Ask yourself, does this expense improve my life enough to justify what I am paying? If the answer is no, choosing a more affordable option is not moving backward. It is creating more room to move forward. Step 3. Automatically redirect the difference. When a loan or monthly payment ends, do not allow that money to disappear into everyday spending. Automatically send it toward high-interest debt, an emergency fund, a retirement account, or investments that fit your financial plan. If you remove an expense without building a system to replace it, the extra money will quickly find somewhere else to go. Step 4. Do not turn every raise into a new expense. When your income increases, you should enjoy part of it. But every raise does not need to become a new car, a larger home, or another monthly payment. Allow the distance between what you earn and what you need to live to grow. That is where wealth is created. Step 5. Change your scoreboard. Do not measure success by the model of your car, the size of your home, or your job title. Look at your savings rate, debt-free cash flow, invested assets, and the number of months you could live without a paycheck. Someone who drives a luxury vehicle is not automatically irresponsible. Someone who drives an older car is not automatically wealthy. You cannot understand a person's financial position simply by looking at what they drive. That is the real lesson. Visible consumption is a weak sign of wealth. Real financial strength is usually quiet and difficult to see. Financial power means being able to wait, negotiate, rest, and say no to a situation you do not want. That is real freedom. So before making your next major purchase, ask yourself, am I genuinely building a better life, or am I only trying to look as though I am? Today, those two choices may look almost identical. 20 years from now, they may create completely different lives. Build the invisible part first, then decide what is truly worth making visible. Subscribe to Money with Tommy and start taking control of your financial freedom. The goal here is not to look rich. The goal is to build your financial freedom step by step and take back control of your life.